Good evening, everyone. Welcome to USD 305 School Board Meeting. Today's November 13th, 2018. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Before we go to approval of agenda, as you can see, Carol Brandert is unable to be here tonight, but she can hook up with us by phone. And if all of you that are speaking into a mic would speak very clearly or get closer to the mic, we'll make sure she can hear us. And she will travel with us to our executive meeting and our workshop as well. So with that, moving on to the agenda, are there any additions or corrections?
Madam President, there are no additions or corrections.
Thank you. So do I have a motion to approve our agenda? Ann?
Madam President, I move that we accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Carol? Aye.
Oh.
Okay. Motion carried 7-0. Thank you. Next on our agenda is recognition and presentations, and NEA Salina has an announcement.
Good afternoon. Each November, NEA Salina celebrates American Education Week, and during this time, we recognize the contributions of all who work in schools. This year, we are also celebrating the 30th anniversary of National ESP Day by highlighting the contributions and support of school bus drivers, instructional assistants, paraeducators, office workers, health and student service employees, food service workers, custodians, maintenance workers, resource officers, technology specialists, and our skilled trades workers. We also recognize the USD 305 Board of Education as an important part of the team working to educate our students. We work together as a team to ensure that schools are open and welcoming to all, a point worth emphasizing at a time of divisiveness in our nation. Well, I'm proud to say that we believe public schools are the cornerstone of communities, where we bring people from all walks of life together to provide students with the support and tools they need and deserve. And we want to thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Give them a hand for doing that. I think NEA and Salina School Board have been working diligently to work together, and we appreciate you very much for doing this. I think this is the first time we've had this during a board meeting, and I think we've made a lot of headway. I want to thank you very much. Next on our agenda is You Do Make a Difference Award with Jennifer Bradford Vernon.
Good evening. The You Make a Difference Award is presented to staff members whose exemplary actions support students, colleagues, and the mission of Salina Public Schools. Recipients of these awards receive a lapel pin and a handwritten note personally delivered by a Board of Education member. Pat Schrader, Para, Gracie Stewart Elementary School. Pat has a reputation with her colleagues as being quick to respond when help is needed. When a request for assistance goes out over the walkie-talkies, Pat always seems to appear. If it is possible to have limitless patience, Pat would qualify based on her work with students who are struggling. Thank you, Pat, for making a difference. Eric Boyle, Network Technician, and Holly Wentz, Network Engineer of MIS. When Huesner staff discovered one of their students had a real passion for technology, they arranged a special incentive. Holly and Eric enthusiastically agreed to share their insights and visit with the youth. After the student worked hard for the privilege, all three met to talk about technology. Thank you, Eric and Holly, for making a difference. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Next on our agenda is approval of the consent agenda items, and those include minutes of the October 9th, 2018 regular meeting, minutes of the October 15th, 2018 special meeting, minutes of the October 29th, 2018 special meeting, personnel reports, financial reports, which include October bills list and October bond bills list, September treasurer's report, September investment report, September journal entries, bond budget summary for October, approve Heartland Federal Head Start supplement funds application in the amount of $20,000 for Enterprise Head Start facility. Is there any discussion? Any questions? All those in favor approving the,
Have to have a
I
we need a
oh, I need a motion. Yes, I do.
Madam
I'm ready to
President,
get
I
it.
move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Thank you. Second,
Emma Doherty, second.
motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. Carol? Aye. Motion carried 7-0. Next is public forum, and at this time, if there's someone that would like to come forward, they may do so. Seeing no one, we'll move to action agenda. That includes the South High Robotics out-of-state field trip with Lyric Carnes.
I'm Lyric Carnes, and as a result of our team, our robotics teams at South High School, achieving a third-place finish at the Kansas Best Robotics Competition, we have earned the right to go to Fort Smith, Arkansas on November 30th and December 1st. And we are asking permission from the board to allow us to travel out of state to attend this competition. It's a regional competition with teams from Arkansas, Oklahoma, Colorado, Kansas, and I think Missouri.
Are there any questions? Carol?
Sorry.
Carol, do you have a comment or a question?
No, thank you. I'm excited for them.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a motion.
I wanted to ask one question.
Okay.
I think you were saying earlier that a whole lot of this is paid for by the sponsor. Or can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, Wichita State University ascertains or gets sponsorships from Spirit, Aviation from Lowe's, various organizations and companies in Wichita, and they then gather up the plywood, the PVC pipes, the motors, and all of the different items that we use. Then we come together, 32 different teams have 32 alike kits, and then we go home with our challenge and then go ahead and build our robot to meet that particular challenge. Then, as one of the top 3 performing teams at Wichita State, we are fortunate enough to get a $1,000 stipend from Wichita State, which then helps to pay for the hotel costs and other travel associated costs as we go to Fort Smith. So it's very well funded from Wichita State. They support it greatly. It's a national organization that has hubs throughout the entire United States. I don't think in Alaska or Hawaii, but the lower 48, 50.
Thank you.
I teach physics, not history.
Do I have a motion? Gary?
I move that we approve the South High Robotics out-of-state trip to Fort Smith, Arkansas on November 30th to December 1, 2018 as presented.
Is there a second?
Emma Doherty, second.
Emma, second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Carol?
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Be sure and keep us updated on the news from there, okay? Moving right on to our next item on our agenda is school board reports. We do not have anything in discussion agenda. School board reports and upcoming dates of importance. November 30th to December 2nd, KASB Annual Convention in Overland Park for the school board. Thursday, December 13th, DCP graduation at Salina West at 4 o'clock. DCP stands for Diploma Completion Program. And Thursday, January 10th, the board has a special meeting at 5:30 p.m. And with that, I will start with Gabe.
I was trying to think back to any notes I had. I missed our last board meeting. I attended a CKCIE Board of Control meeting with Carol on October 17th. Received lots of updates from them. Discussion about the upcoming election. About how para requests were filled with both in 305 and all the participating districts in the co-op. Nothing else to report from that. Nothing else.
Okay, thank you. Ann?
Yes, I attended, I believe I've attended 2 Smoky Hill Education Service Center executive cabinet meetings since the last board meeting, because we had one that was late and last month. And we've been discussing the interlocal agreement, which is required every 5 years among all the 50 participating school districts. So all the districts have to approve this. I'm not sure when that goes on the agenda, but it has to be done. So then I learned during this discussion about that at some point in the past few years, Smoky Hill Education Service Center had merged with the Fort Hays Education Service Center, and another merger had happened at some point with the North Central Education Service Center, which was in Concordia. So it's become kind of a sprawling organization with a lot of work in a lot of different places. I will say that they had a clean audit recently, and they've joined CERMP, the Kansas, whatever CERMP stands for, which we are part of too, on liability, no, isn't property insurance or liability? Yes, all of those things, thank you. Sorry not to be too well spoken on that. They also sponsored the legislative luncheon, which I went to and was very interesting. And we had our cabinet meeting after that. I went to the Much Ado About Nothing at Central, which was amazing. All that Elizabethan language with accents included. Also, I attended the Miracle Worker at South, which was also wonderful. I just today, excuse me, pinned down the number 72nd of my 72 Arts in the Schools program that are coming up in the next few months. And I did started them with the songwriting workshops at Lakewood on Monday. So I'm sort of tired just thinking about that. 72 music programs in the schools. Thank you.
I had the Heartland meeting on November 1st. Some of the things we talked about there, obviously the grant that we talked about today, the in-kind there. Something that was interesting, they've got the read-along program where folks from the community come in and read, and they're looking for volunteers, not specifically in Salina, but the communities where Heartland works outside of Salina. They're really struggling to have folks to come in to read to those schools. So if you know folks in those support areas that we're working with, if you could encourage anybody to reach out, it's something that they're really looking for in those areas. It was nice to hear that they don't necessarily have that need right here in Salina or an immediate need, but in the other support areas, that's something they're experiencing. Also attended the Miracle Worker
Yeah.
at South High on Saturday, and went down to Newton for the Chisholm Trail Vocal Band Concert, where they brought in students from Lakewood and South in the select choirs and bands and put them together with other choirs from the other schools in our competitive leagues, and had a day to put together a 4-song concert. So that was kind of neat to see our students working in those areas.
Thank you. Gary?
Thank you. I also attended the Smoky Hill Educational Service Center Legislative Forum. If I could take away anything from that, it would be that it does seem that maybe there's more of them on the same page this year about education and support for education than in sometimes past we've seen a little more negativity about education in that group, and they were all pretty supportive of education, which might mean we don't wait until June or July to see what they do on educational issues this year. So that was good. I attended with Ann also the executive meeting as an alternate, and it's good to hear that everybody has to discuss health insurance. It's on every business, every governmental unit. It's an issue for everyone. And then I also went out to MIS and did handed out the You Make a Difference Awards to Holly and Eric that Jennifer mentioned. And from talking to those two about their experience with the child, I think it was probably a great enriching experience for the child, but I think those two employees we had just about as much fun as that kid did, because they were just so taken with our student and how much the student understood about technology and how bright that was, and it was a really great experience for all three, I think.
Thank you, Gary. Emma?
I too went to the legislative session, and I'll just ditto what he said regarding the legislators seem to be working closer together on funding for the schools, and that'll be really great and really nice. The other thing was KWSCH had Battle of the Bands, and South High was number 3 for a long time and remained number 3, so that was wonderful. In winning, of course, or trying to win, but anyway, they had a good performance that they put on the TV. So anyway, congratulations to them as well. Also attended the Woman of Achievement Award, and our own Ann Zimmerman won that award, and so we congratulate her here again today, and I think that's all for now. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I did deliver You Do Make a Difference Award this week, and it's always fun to do that. This one was really surprised. I delivered it to the para that was talked about by Jennifer, and she thought I was there for the classroom teacher. So she just sat over in her desk area and continued to work, and I walked over, and she was really surprised. So that was great. And I too attended the Smoky Hill Legislative meeting, and I always look forward to that one because we do get to sit and visit with our legislators while we eat and talk with them, and I'm in agreement also with Gary that seemed very positive this time. The weather was kind of bad, and in the way we didn't see as many there as we usually do, but we had the majority there, and that was really beneficial. Attended a Chamber of Commerce meeting and both the high school plays. And I think that's all. Also attended the Women of Achievement Awards. That's always an aspiring thing to go to, I think, and see the women that are recognized. So with that, we will move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President. One of the things I've been able to do the last 2 weeks that I very much enjoy, I went to the ESL celebration at Schilling and at Coronado, and it's really inspiring. You know, many of those students come to us and not speaking any English at all, and within a short time, 2 years, they become proficient. And to pass that test, to be proficient, they have to pass the reading and the writing and the speaking. And when I was talking to them, I said, well, so what was the hardest? And they were talking about the writing part, how challenging that was, you know, punctuation and all those things that we kind of take for granted. And as I was talking to them, it was just great to affirm with those students that they are golden. They're bilingual, and we encourage them to keep their native language, and as they continue to improve their English. But we really affirm that with them over and over, so I appreciated that. And also, they allowed me to use my really bad Spanish, and I appreciated that. So I got to speak to them in Spanish, and they were really good at correcting me. I appreciate that too, I think. I also attended the Women of Achievement Luncheon, and it's just really impressive to see so many folks that have such a major impact in our community. And of course, Board Member Ann's resume was very impressive. All the different things that you've done, Ann, that's really very impressive, very cool that we got to see that. Let's see, I do want to mention that we are on the site council tour, Lisa Peters and I, and we get a really nice response from that. We kind of advertise it as a state of the district, like you have the State of the Union, State of the State, this is a State of the District. And it's always interesting to see that folks who have been in our district for a while, who think they know everything, find out they don't. And because there's so much to learn about our school district. So we get really nice responses, and people appreciate it. The Apple, I just have to throw a big plug in for that. The Apple that we have that has all the statistics in there about where our money goes, that is especially well received. And I've been passing that out to superintendents and other folks that I talk to, and they think we are like the gold standard for how to do those type of things. And that goes back to our MIS and David Chevarria, who's one of our folks there, who does a great job. So Lisa got that started. David Chevarria put it in a really nice, easy to understand graphic, and that's been a really important part of our site councils. I also attended the Smoky Hill Education Service Center Legislative Forum. What I really appreciate from our legislators, and I think some of our folks that are here can concur with that, it's nice that the legislators, some of them stayed around and sat and visited and let us ask questions of them. I thought that was really nice, that they are very receptive. They do appreciate the relationship that we have, and I think in some circumstances, we have a really special relationship with our legislators and our State Board of Education member. I can say that a lot of our superintendents across Kansas haven't figured out how to foster that relationship, because sometimes you disagree. And that's a hard thing to be able to get past that in some respects. And the last thing I just want to share is that this Wednesday, I'm traveling with the middle school's principal, assistant principal. We're going to the Kansas State High School Activity Association meeting to plead that we be placed in a league for competition. You probably are aware that the league we were in broke up, and it got down to a few schools, and scheduling is a nightmare for the middle school folks. And so we're going to travel there on Wednesday and ask to be placed in a league. And I can keep you up on how that goes. Madam President, that's all I have.
Hey, thank you. Moving on to executive session.
Madam President?
Yes?
We wondered if Carol had a report.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks to Jim.
Carol, do you have a report?
Well, actually, I don't, but I did have a question. I'm assuming I'm working off perhaps the wrong agenda, one that was handed out earlier. Are we not approving the KESB Legislative Committee report?
That is at work session.
That will be at work session?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And no, I have nothing to report. I think Kate reported on TKCIE, so that's about where I am right now. Thanks.
Sorry, Carol, didn't mean to miss you, but we miss you.
Not at all.
Okay, going into executive session. How many minutes do we need?
Madam President, we could use 15 minutes.
15? Okay, we need a motion for 15 minutes. Just start on the 5-minute time. Gary?
This is for personnel.
Yes.
Madam President, I move the Board of Education go into executive session at, do we want to start at 5:30?
That'd be great.
At 5:30 for 15 minutes for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of non-elected personnel and their contractual obligations. Because if this matter were discussed in open session, it might invade the privacy of those discussed, and the Board of Education reconvene into open session at 5:45 in the board conference room.
Okay, thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Madam President, yes.
Okay, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Carol?
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0. So we will be in executive session at 5:30. For anyone that wants to stay with that, you are welcome to stay for that in this room, and we will come get you. You're adjourned.